let me bring up our friends here. Gabe, Glenn, we also have Paquette, hopefully I said it right, and Stuart. All right. They'll be talking NFT marketplaces and mass adoption. Friends, you have our attention.
Hey, everyone. How's everyone doing? Thank you. So, hey, everyone. My name is Gabe. I'm a part of a VC venture studio, incubator, whatever you want to call it. We help develop, invest, industry disruptors. That's one of our theses. So it has to be using Web3 blockchain technology as its basis to disrupt a certain industry, whether it's entertainment, music, whatever it is. But yeah, as you can tell, I'm very young. I'm 19 years old, so yeah.
So my name is Paweł. I'm the co-founder of the Synapse Network and also an advisor and one of the co-founders of Niftables, which is basically an infrastructure layer to onboard Web2 brands easily within Web3 because they don't know what they are doing and someone needs to show them. So.
Awesome, thanks. So, hi everyone, my name is Glenn. I'm the co-founder with Gabe. So, as he said, we run a venture studio. We do a lot of events, consulting, incubation for Web3 companies that are seeking to disrupt industries, primarily with exclusivity contracts or any sort of IP and assets. And we're also starting a fund to support this effort.
Hi guys, I'm a last minute addition today. I'm Brian Foote. I'm the CEO of Humble, which is a publicly traded company in the United States, and then I'm the founder of the first legally registered DAO in the United States called Blocks out of Wyoming. Happy to be here.
Wasn't Humble the first publicly traded blockchain company?
Yeah, one of, right? It's we and Coinbase were sort of some of the first through the door on some of the product lines that are offered by public companies in the United States.
So you being very early,
the scars to prove it.
Tell me how that journey was from being, being at Humble from where you were to where you are now. The journey, all that sort of stuff. Tell me about it.
Yeah, no, for sure. So I started going to crypto conferences, 5, 6, 7 years ago, and what you noticed was you sort of had a choice. Like, we won a World Blockchain Summit Award in 2019. We're down there in Singapore, and you sort of have this choice point where you say, should I stay abroad with my buddies and launch projects in sort of wave 1.5 crypto, or should I come home to the United States, walk right down Main Street, and try to start a publicly traded company that's fully registered in the United States, and at the same time also launch the first legally registered DAO to do decentralized work product that's totally different from a consumer-related for-profit public company. So I just sort of sat with it and said, okay, in order for Web3 to realize itself in the United States, my little corner of the world contribution is going to be starting a publicly traded consumer products company that sits on top of decentralized rail systems like Blocks and Ethereum. So that was the choice I made, came home. You obviously spend a fortune on lawyers and regulatory and compliance and all that stuff, but now you sit in it today and you go, okay, it looks like DAOs are probably going to be somewhat regulated in the United States, and I think we had a small part of that by doing what we did in Wyoming. So very proud of that, and I'm glad of the decision, although it has been very expensive, time-consuming, et cetera, to accomplish that. So
That's awesome. That's awesome. So you want to go next?
About my company?
Yeah, all the stuff you're doing. I know you guys are building something very cool on Niftables.
Yeah, so the problem that we have seen on the market is that like everyone is talking about technology, but no one is basically talking about, or not many people are talking about problem solving. And those big brands, they at the end they do not care about the tech. They care about solving their problems. They want to be onboarded within the space. So we started to think from this angle. So what does it take to onboard like big brand like Disney, L'Oreal, Porsche, Jaguar, etc. And the first idea was, okay, so in the first place, they have some kind of Web2 services and offering, but they don't want to change the technology behind that because that would involve a significant investment. So let's solve this problem in the first place to allow them to simply integrate with some company that will encapsulate the whole knowledge, the crypto space, etc., so they can easily, within one day, integrate NFTs and to provide the power of NFTs within the current services and offering. And we did. And the second problem that we were thinking of is that, okay, So the second problem they have, like 0.5% of the people worldwide understand what the crypto is and that the gas price is basically not the thing that Putin is not selling to Europe. So we thought that we should provide within the solution the way to approach 100% of the community they have. Do not penalize the people that are, I don't know, too old, not tech savvy, they don't understand how to use this space. So we figure out how to solve this problem. And with this kind of offering, and there are like 5 other problems, but I don't want to take stage just for me. We can always talk after the chat. And with this offering, we went to the companies and started to verify if there is a market fit. And there was tremendous interest in this area because they want someone to tell them how they can do this and to help them with the strategy of doing this and execution. So this is exactly what we started to think from the problem perspective and not from the not from the technological perspective in the first place.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, so I wanted to add to what Brian was saying. I mean, Brian, you had one of the first publicly traded blockchain technology companies, so naturally you must have had to carve a separate path for your company compared to other privately held companies. I believe that, compliance regulatory is a huge aspect for mass adoption. They're one of the groups that really needs to be on board with blockchain technology adoption because they're making the rules that facilitate healthy growth for crypto adoption cycles. But there are other groups as well that need to be on board for it to all work out because there's this sort of technological diffusion, but it's very asymmetric across different countries. There's first world countries with a technological advantage. I can buy things on my phone really easily, but then third world countries aren't able to access that as much. And by a similar comparison, third world countries have more to gain out of it. So you see people in the Philippines or Thailand playing things like Axie Infinity because the $10 they make a day is life-changing, but it might not be worth our time here in the States.
Yeah, so to add to this, so like in the future, I think the power of NFTs might be used. It is right now in a much more different way than most of the people are thinking. Like most of the people are thinking about NFTs like PFPs and gaming. That's it. But at the end, there is much more. So for example, there is an alcohol brand that exists 200 years. I know the guys. They are from Colombia, and they have this like old 100-year-old alcohol bottles and barrels in Singapore in storage worth 850 million euros. And they are selling this for collectors and investors worldwide. And I convinced them to start selling this alcohol in the form of NFT because this is much easier. This gives them much easier secondary market and much more liquid secondary market. But also, if I want, after 10 years, sell my bottle of worth 100 grand to you, I don't need to prove you that I was storing this properly because I'm not an expert in this. They are, and they are financing this storage from the secondary market fees. So this is a self-sustainable model. And also try to sell this barrel of alcohol in Dubai, where it's haram, it's forbidden. But with NFTs, you can always trade NFT everywhere in the world. So it simplifies secondary market and it makes illiquid assets liquid ones.
Yeah, I want to jump in on that because it's a great point. So our core product line with the Humble Wallet, right, was built to start to build not just Web3 tools that are right now, but the future-looking stuff that touches exactly what you said. So when we talk about the convergence between consumer products and decentralized rail systems, I think your point is great, and we actually see that all the time at Humble. So at the Humble Wallet, you contemplate things like the verifiable credentials, decentralized identifiers, universal resolvers, things like that, where you're starting to have that, you're going to have that moment where the customer starts to, when they don't see that they're using blockchain for their blockchain-based profile, for their decentralized identifiers, for their portable identity, age verification, right? Proof of attendance, things like that. That's where this starts to get really exciting, but if you don't tuck that into a verification layer that also has registry behind it, a couple of panels earlier, the fellow from eBay and some other guys were talking about that. We see that all the time in our business, right? So like we have the first mobile wallet pilot program in California for the county of Santa Cruz. And this is something that government has to contemplate all the time. How do we let citizens start to use blockchain to verify themselves, their credentials, have a portable Web3 identity, but at the same time as a government, you have to issue pet registries, bike registries, fictitious business names, food and beverage licenses with some age verification implications, et cetera. So really what we're doing with Humble is creating consumer products like the Humble Wallet, but then tucking it in on top of things like verified by blocks and the blocks registry, a globally decentralized database on Ethereum, for anything ranging from physical asset collectibles like liquor collections to fundamental things like bike registries, pet registries, et cetera. So we touch this a lot, both in the private sector and the public sector with some of our county clients and defense clients with the Air Force. So yeah, it's pretty interesting stuff.
So to add to this, we are here today to talk about the mass adoption. But the biggest problem today of the mass adoption, basically, is that the people are too scared. That's why still 0.5% of the humanity understands what the crypto is. They are too scared about the private key, that they will lose capital, that they are not tech savvy enough. But we see huge brands like Starbucks and other guys entering the space, like Meta with Instagram. So what if, like in my opinion, in next 5 years, we're gonna see a new iPhones that have in it a wallet? Who is using wallet in this room? An Apple Wallet, guys. Okay, some people are too shy. Okay, cool. So I would not be surprised that all the assets that you have on your wallet, I have plane tickets, I have everything in there, would be NFTs that you can easily trade on the secondary market, and it's secured by physical security in your phone. You don't need to have ledger, you just need to have your Face ID.
Yeah.
That's the adoption we are looking for.
I agree, and I want to jump on top of that real quick. I think vendor lock-in is going to be an impediment, though, to something like the Googles and the Apples that have these Android or iPhone dependencies. So the reason we built out the Humble Wallet product is to start to educate customers that you're going to have this encrypted Web3 identity that's going to go with you across social networks, across different vendor lock-in choices and things like that. So good point. Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. As you know, as being a young person, as you can tell, I'm 19. I definitely feel as if for mass adoption, everything has to be hidden in the back end. What I mean by that is the user has to have no idea what they're using. Seriously, they have to know nothing.
I love this, and I love that you have said this, because I will ask our audience once again another question. Who is using Visa card, like payment Visa? Okay, so all of you since 2019 are using blockchain while paying in shops, because Visa since 2019 are using for settlements under the hood USDC on Ethereum since 2019. That's what you are referring to. And this is exactly, people don't have to know even that they are using NFTs. They are just using digital assets. That's it. This is all they should have to know, you know.
And I personally think like this might get some bad reviews, but I think NFT probably does does more to harm the industry than help. The name NFT, I feel as if they should just be DAs. You know what I mean? Digital assets. Because everyone just gets like, you know, my grandma, my little sister, they're always like, oh, non-fungible token, you know what I mean? So that they always get hung up on it. But another thing, have you heard of the ERC 725 standard? I think that is an incredibly interesting standard because it basically takes blockchain-based accounts. So think about, which is something I'm doing a lot of homework on right now. One of my buddies, Fabian Vogelsteller, he was one of the first guys at Ethereum, created the MIST browser. He's at Luxo now. It's very interesting what they're doing. So basically, they're building a new standard for wallets and tokens. Because let's be honest, when they pushed out the first 721 and he authored the ERC 20 too, they had to make it very quickly in 36 hours because people said, we need this, we need that, we need it now. And there's a lot of inefficiencies, metadata problems, a lot of things of that nature, which they're actually solving. And it's all, you can literally have a blockchain-based wallet, so such as your MetaMask, but then it can look like a decentralized social media account. What I mean by that is you can attach links, you can attach pictures, you can hide things. You also, so let's say we're at this conference right here, you know what I mean? We're here right now. I will, when I go to conferences, will just get randomly things airdropped into my wallet, and I will never have the ability to deny. You can get a notification to basically accept or deny. You can do all these different things, which I think is another level of another level to interact in the space that needs to be jumped, because that's just one of the very few things that they're tackling. Like, I think that we're at a very primitive state right now, because honestly, for my friends that go to college and stuff, like another big thing is Dude, my other friends that are 19 that go to college, they are not going to hold on to their keys. They're not, to their wallet. Let's be honest. We're stupid. We're 19-year-old boys. Come on. Like you can generate multiple keys in the same sense in which you have multiple keys to get into your house. You can turn keys on, deactivate keys, do all these other things. And it's a smart contract-based account. It's not a key-based account. So it gives you the ability to do a lot of other things. Obviously, it's not scalable on something such as, Ethereum because it's, an ETH to deploy. That's why he went out and built his own chain, basically.
And you don't want to pay $50 for unlocking your house.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, Gabe, you bring up a really good point because I'm actually really excited for that standard as well because I think it's going to vastly improve the way that wallets are used. I mean, right now it's pretty complicated. I mean, I just started using wallets last year, and I'm like, well, the reason I had enough potential energy to actually go and try to learn how to do that was because I thought there was, some sort of learning curve where it would lead me to some sort of profit or learning, right? But a lot of people aren't interested in that, and I say back in the early 2000s, people were being paid to set up emails because other people were just too lazy to learn how to do it, right? But now, if someone's paying you to set up an email, everyone else is just why, right? But I've been paid to set up wallets, and I know you have as well, and it's that's a problem. There should not be a job of setting up a wallet. It needs to be much more simplified. And back to the topic of mass adoption, I want to ask this panel, where do you think we are in mass adoption? Do you think we're there yet? Because personally, and I'll give my answer first, I don't think we're there yet. We can look at the room and make an answer here, but just even in OpenSea, right? Last year, when it broke records with volumes of transactions, it was hitting $4 billion of transactions a month. But if you look at the total number of wallets interacting with the platform, it was less than 600,000. Right, so that would be some sort of statistical backing for why I believe we're not at that point of mass adoption yet.
So I can agree completely with that, and I will give an example and comparison with the history of what we've seen, all of us in this room. So dot-com bubble, the place where we are at right now is super similar to the dot-com bubble. A lot of projects starting on the market with better or worse business models, a lot of overvalued, a lot of overinvested, a lot of scams. The same thing happened in 2000. After dot-com bubble burst, a couple of businesses and business models survived. No one before 2000 heard about e-commerce. No one before 2000 heard about digital marketing or social media. And it took 10 years, a decade, to build those economies which are providing today hundreds of millions of jobs worldwide. And what was needed? Tools. Tools were needed to build those economies. Like for e-commerce, we needed to have online payments, because without online payments, it's not possible to build e-commerce. And the same place is where we are at, in my opinion, right now with the crypto. So as all those trades that I just said are very similar, this is very similar to what we see on the market right now. And the thing is, we are all the time talking about the problems, people cannot log in or so. We need tools to solve those problems, so this will push forward the whole industry in the space where we are at right now and provides people a new way of operating in this space. So that's my answer. So we need tools, and probably this time it's not going to take a decade because the internet is there, the communication is there. We are much more tech savvy. There's much more solutions on the market. The big tech guys that were not exist before 2000, maybe besides Microsoft and IBM, are in here, and they want to enter the space and help us to develop. So that's why I think in the next 3-5 years, probably we'll see a huge increase in terms of adoption.
I'm with you on that too, because I think right now, obviously I think it's quite obvious, we're nowhere near, I think, mass adoption, honestly, but we have the ability to look at certain portfolios and see that the majority of VC investment funds right now are going into the space. They're eating things up at a low valuation. You know what I mean? Now is the time to build. Now is literally the time that basically the little boys are going to be shown and the men are going to be made, basically. You know what I mean? That's literally what's happening. All the BS is going to be washed away, and all the real things, all the tangible things are going to exist. And a couple of companies that I think that we're involved with that are quite interesting is, I don't know if you guys are familiar with, ever heard of Whatnot? It's online live shopping, but I think that, which is very interesting, one of the companies we're involved with is launching a live shopping platform. So basically you have influencers or whatever selling products online live, The other one is music, basically. It's basically a VST plugin in which you can put into any music making software, basically. VST. So think of VST as like a, you know how Solidity for EVM blockchains is the language. VST is like the language to create these programs basically inside music. And basically what you can do is within FL Studio or something, you can buy stems, buy licenses to remix music, drag and drop basically within, and closing the loop, submit back to the label. So let's say, and we're piloting with Katy Perry's music and Firework and a couple other people like that. And then those are the projects or products that really interest me, honestly. I think we're past the point in time where it's, you know what I mean? Well, not past the point in time. What I mean by this is like, we want to see something more tangible that's not just an NFT project. You know what I mean? How are you actually utilizing the technology to better the world, or how are you actually utilizing the technology to make society better or to make something better for someone, if that makes sense?
So to add to this, a very short thing. Right now, it's not the question if, it's the question when. And if any one of you in this room wants to build something, it's right moment, right now. Because otherwise, in the future, like myself, you will say, like in 5-10 years, okay, I had this idea, and those guys have built it. Like I was doing like after the dot-com bubble, because I had some ideas that those big guys create.
I don't think I was alive during the dot-com bubble.
Yeah. So it's a matter of when.
I'm here for this one though.
Yeah, I think mass adoption, Glenn, will be here when you never have to leave the tokenization layer in your daily life. So like think about today, right? I want to be able to show my ID, get proof of attendance, buy a product, register it to the blockchain, and be able to commemorate the event with some kind of socially encrypted environment that has all of that on the tokenization layer. That's when we'll be at mass adoption, is, in my opinion, is when you never realize you're leaving the blockchain tokenization layer. And that could be main chain, side chain, some off-chain stuff that then reconciles. But in the end, I think we have seen that technology cycles hit their mass adoption moment when you don't know you're using them to do the things that you need to do to get through your life. So I think that's where we'll be, is when you can open the Humble Wallet and do all those things.
Yeah, I think another thing is just like blockchain in general is kind of like the internet, right? There's various facets to the internet. Like e-commerce had a different adoption cycle compared to just the growth of the internet itself or social media. And with blockchain specifically, I mean, like certain aspects will be quicker to grow than others. I mean, just looking at corporate disclosures, and I think corporate disclosures are a great way to track, you know, what companies are looking forward into, whether or not they're actually adopting new technologies. Going back to like 2013, 2014, there were less than 100 news articles on blockchain, but there were quite a lot of discussions about Bitcoin, right? And then as we grew into around 2017, 2018, 2019 with that big spike, you saw that the corporate disclosure mention of Bitcoin dropped from 83% to 18%. And the corporate mention of business applications of blockchain actually increased from 4% to 50%. And that's continued to be the trend since then.
Yeah, I completely agree. One more thing to add to the mass adoption is that the place where we are at right now and the NFTs and blockchain itself opens a completely new creative ways to rebuild the things that have been built in the past. So most of the projects that I was meeting during the last like 2 years were building the things in the NFT space in the same way as they are built in traditional market. But there are plenty of creative things that you might do that were not possible before. And I will give you an example. Like a couple of weeks ago, we had a call with a very famous boxer, like top 5 Hall of Fame in US. And they want to create a new federation in Africa. They want to have galas and other things like that. And they want to sell tickets in form of NFTs. But they were thinking how to bring value for the previously issued tickets and sold tickets in the future. So what if, for example, you can use 5 previously sold tickets that are used and merge them together to give you a lottery ticket that you, for example, will go to the VIP room and spend the whole gala with those famous boxers together and then on the after party, and you're going to be eligible to do so. And everyone have equal chance. And this gives you a lot of potential for co-marketing between brands, because right now, so what I'm going to show that I have coupons, discount coupons for McDonald's, or I was buying something. It's not possible. But with NFTs and those proof of attendance and proofs on my wallet, I can show that I was doing something, or I can buy those things out of the secondary market because other people that were on this first gala or something, they don't need it anymore. But I want to meet those guys on the next gala. So it provides a whole bunch of new ways. That's why I'm talking about the whole new economy that is going to be built. A whole new bunch of new job types are going to be created for this, because there are no those skill sets on the market yet. They need to be created. So that's why we are here.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.